Fear is good. Fear in itself is not a bad thing. Fear is false evidence appearing real. Most of us go through our life in fear. Whether we want to admit it or not, we're driven by fear. We're thinking way ahead for something that can happen. Won't necessarily happen, but it can happen, and it's causing us to be fearful. It's causing us to think in the future and think in an anxious way. Fear is not a bad thing. Fear is a challenge. They say that scientifically speaking, babies are born with two fears. First fear is the fear of falling, and the second fear is the fear of loud noises. Besides that, everything has been preconditioned to us by our friends, our family, our environment, things we see on television, music, different things that we see throughout our life, which leads us to start becoming fearful of different items or situations or just different things in general. Fear, as you get older, can either hold you back or it can propel you. If you live your whole life in fear, you're going to feel like you're in a cage. You're going to feel stuck in this cage. And you're going to set limits on your own life. You're going to set limits on everything you can do because you're feeling fearful. Because you're limiting yourself based on your own fears, based on your own limitations. And here's the thing. You are the person that can both give yourself the ability to accomplish anything you want or limit yourself entirely. We're both the gatekeepers of our prison or our freedom. The self-imposed fears that you put on yourself, that you experience because of your past or your current environment, these fears are what are limiting your life. They're making you not live life to the fullest. Each one of us has a different set of fears that we get throughout our lifespan. And the idea is to stop being fearful. Stop being scared of what happens tomorrow or what happens a year from now or 5 years from now. Now, that's not to say that to not plan, that's not to say just be present, don't think about it. Now, you can be present and also plan ahead in your future. You can't live in fear if you truly want to live. Because if you truly want to live, you have to learn how to feel the present moment for what it is. And the present moment is very serene, it's very quiet, it's very still. This is the only moment that exists, is the now. What you do now can change your life entirely. So fear, the way I like to think about it is that it is an obstacle. It's an obstacle that we have to pass in order for us to get a more increased ability to live life. Because without having this obstacle present, that wall that we had set up for ourselves, it just crumbles and then it doesn't exist anymore. Why? Because we challenged the fear and we realized that, this fear that I had put on myself, this fear that I had since I was young, it's gone. It's not there no more. I don't have to even have that cross my mind. There's different fears that each one of us can get, each one of us having our own life experiences. But the truth being told is that if you think about it, think of all the times that you've been afraid, all the times. I'm sure you've been afraid many times. And think of all the times that you overcame that. You overcame that. Let that resonate. Let it resonate deeply. Because you've already overcame multiple different situations in which you felt that fear. And maybe you challenged yourself. Maybe somebody pushed you. Or maybe, you got pushed by emotion that just overcame the fear. Because the truth is that you are stronger than your fear. You are way stronger than your fear. That fear that you are experiencing, it's not you. It's just something you're experiencing. It's an experience of life. And guess what? Life has multiple experiences. All you have to do is just move on to the next experience. And your next experience is conquering that fear, overcoming it, making it no longer be a fear, but something that helped you grow, a stepping stone. There's a saying that fear is false evidence appearing real. To me, that resonates because a lot of the fear that you have, a lot of the fear that I have, it doesn't really happen. Most of it's imaginary. You start thinking of all these outcomes and all these things that could happen, all these worst case scenarios, and 9 times out of 10, they don't happen. You yourself, you're creating this world in your mind of all these scenarios that can happen when the truth is that you don't really know what will happen. You can guess, you can make assumptions, but the truth is that sometimes there's just factors that are outside of your control, and all you can do is do the best you can. That really is all you can do. You do the best you can, and whatever happens, you just have to trust that it was the right thing to happen. For me, one of the most important times in my life was when I realized that fear is either going to be the thing that helps keep you back in life or the thing that helps propel you forward. What that means is that if you allow fear to keep you back, that was a choice. That was your decision. The fear had no power over you except for the power that you gave it. You gave it the power to limit you. If you gave it the power to keep you back in life, that's because you made that decision. Keep in mind that whatever you decide in life, in a way, you made the decision. Whether that's taking action or not, inaction in itself is still a decision. You chose to not take action. You chose to not overcome that situation. You chose to be fearful. You chose to feel that feeling. You chose to let that feeling keep you stagnant. You chose to feel stuck. You chose to not move. You chose to be paralyzed because you let the fear overcome you. And that's the thing, like, if you let the fear overcome you, it wins. But you don't want it to win. You want to win, right? You wouldn't be watching this video if you didn't want to win. What's keeping you back from feeling like you're winning in life? What's keeping you back from actually winning in the sense that you're accomplishing the goals that you set for yourself? What's keeping you back from all that is your fear. And you have to decide whether today or 20, 30 years from now, you have to decide that eventually, you are going to face that fear. Because if not, all you're doing is just not moving forward. You're building a wall up, and every time that wall is here, you're avoiding that wall. But here's the thing, that wall continues. And all you're doing is just going down the path, trying to avoid fear, when in reality, there is no other way to go through that path. The obstacle, the fear itself, the obstacle, that is the path. That obstacle that you are so afraid of, you have to do it. Now, it doesn't matter what type of fear you have. The question is it real, right? Most fear is not real. It's imaginary. It's like when a guy is going to ask a girl out and he's very fearful because she might say no. But what happens if they say no? It's not like it matters. Your life is still the same way how it was before. So nothing changes. Feeling the fear is good if you realize that whatever happens, you will overcome it. You are more than what your fear is. You are much more powerful than that. You are powerful. Powerful. Think of all the times that you've done something that you felt like you weren't capable of doing it, or you felt like, oh, I was so scared of doing it, and then you do it, and what do you feel after? Right? What do you feel after you do something that you're scared of? You feel good, right? You feel happy. You feel incredible. You feel like you can go and do anything. That's how we should feel like. Now, obviously, life is life. You're not going to feel amazing 24/7, but you should feel, whether you are scared or not, you're not going to limit your life. You're going to go out and do those things that you have set for yourself. Because deep down, those things that you've set for yourself, those things that you think about, those things that, if only I could do this, or if only I could do that, if only you took action. That's really the only thing. If only you took action, then your life changes. But if only situations are created in your mind to where this is what I need for it to be perfect and this is how I need to do it, yet you don't take action, then you're not really doing anything. You have to take action. The only way to stop feeling that fear is to overcome it. And the only way to overcome that fear is to take action. Without taking action, you're just going to be paralyzed. You're going to be stuck in the same place, looking at something as a threat, looking at something as dangerous when it actually isn't. Be very clear. Danger is real, but fear is not. Because you can be fearful of something, but it doesn't mean you're in danger. And I could be fearful of sleeping in the dark, like most kids are. Growing up, they're scared of the dark, but it doesn't mean they're in danger. Now, you have to understand that if you are in danger, then that's a different situation altogether. But if you're just fearful, then what do you gotta do to overcome that fear? Think about it. What do you have to do? Not anybody else, but what do you have to do? You see, you're different from everyone else in the sense that you have your own life experiences. You've had certain situations that have developed those fears within you. So then the question is, what will it take for you to overcome those fears? Let's say you're scared of heights. Now, how do you overcome that fear? How do you overcome the fear of heights? Everyone's different. So for some people, their approach to it might be, I'm going to go skydiving. I'm going to go jump off a plane and I'm going to go all out and just do something that I'm completely terrified of. And I'm going to go skydive and I'm going to jump off a plane and I'm going to pass out. But for some people, they have to take baby steps. They have to perhaps get on top of a ladder or climb up to the roof or do something that could cause that fear to go away over time. The thing is that each one of us is different. So what is fearful for you is not going to be fearful for me. And what is fearful for me is not going to be fearful for you. And so that is why our approach has to be different. Your approach has to be based off of your intuition. Your intuition is going to tell you what you need to do to overcome that. Your intuition is going to tell you, for you to stop feeling this way, you need to do this. For you to stop feeling like you're not good enough, you need to do this. For you to stop feeling like you can't get straight A's in school, or for you to stop feeling like you can't get that promotion, or you can't date this person, you need to do this. And you're going to know. It's going to be a feeling you'll feel. Because you can go to other people for advice, but they can only give you advice based on their life experience and what they know about you and what they know about your experiences. And 9 times out of 10, you're not going to take their advice, because most people don't go to people for advice. They're going to people for just to have someone who can listen to them, can listen to their problems. No, what you need is just to trust your intuition. And if you do go to somebody for advice, make sure it's the right person. Don't go asking someone who's a liar how to be honest. Because how are they going to teach you about honesty when they just lie? They're not going to be able to. Or how are you going to go to a thief and tell them to teach you about honesty when they go around robbing people? You're asking the wrong person for advice. If you're going to go ask someone for advice, you go to someone who you want to emulate. You go to someone who is a good example. You go to someone who already has or is doing the things that you want to accomplish, right? Like if you see someone who is very charismatic and is very social, and you feel like, you as a person, your fear is socializing, connecting. So you ask them, like, hey, how do I go about, being more charismatic? How do I go about being more social in group situations? And that person, they can help you. They could tell you how it is for them, what it is they think about, what it is they feel, what it is they understand, or what it is they like to say or talk about. And in the event that they don't, what do? Well, you figure it out yourself, because in this life that we live in, we have so many resources available. I mean, look everywhere. If you go on Google, if you go on YouTube, if you go to Amazon, if you go to any place on the internet, you could find pretty much any topic of what it is you're looking for. Whether that's how to ask for promotions, or how to build up self-confidence, or how to be more social, or how to prepare yourself for the future. There's so many resources out there. So if you're not taking action, it's because you're not taking action because you're choosing to. You're choosing to let the fear overcome you. And so what I'm trying to tell you is that you can overcome that fear. You can. Think about it. The only thing that's keeping you back is yourself. No one else is keeping you back. No one. And if you say they are, then that person shouldn't be in your life. You have to approach it very wisely as well, because you shouldn't just cut off people because they don't believe in you. But if they're genuinely negative people that don't improve your life, they shouldn't be in your life in the first place. If it's just someone that loves you, but they're just, taking precautions because, they don't want to see you get hurt, you gotta understand where they're coming from. But you have to understand that you are your own person. That just because they had their own life experiences does not make it so to where you yourself have to have those same life experiences. You do not have to be fearful of what someone else is fearful about. You are your own person. And until you realize that you are the person that can both change your life or have it remain the same, then you won't change until you realize that. Because your life is just going to keep being in the same cycle, the same circle. You're just going to feel like you're stuck in place, rolling around the hamster wheel, until you realize that you have to make the change. Not your cousin, not your mom, not your brother, not your dad, no one else but you. And until you make that change, your life is going to be the same. The worst part is that if your life remains the same till you decide to make that change, you as a person, that obstacle that's there is not going to change. If it changes, it's because it's going to get bigger and bigger and bigger. Not because it's getting smaller, but because it's getting bigger because you took so little in action. You did not go about overcoming it or going through the obstacle, that you made it become this bigger than life obstacle than it actually is. And the reality is that it's not as big as you think it is. You have to be honest with yourself. You've lived life up to that point. You are incredible. You've already accomplished so many things. You can do this. You can do it. Nothing should be holding you back. You can do it. And I mean that. Look at all your life up to this point. Look at all the times where you doubted yourself and where you overcame that situation. Look at all the times when you felt a challenge and you overcame that situation. You are incredible. You are able to accomplish it. You are able to overcome any challenge that comes into your path. you have to approach life like that. Because if you get stuck every time a challenge hits you, then you're just gonna feel like you're moving forward and then stopping and then getting stuck. And then depending on how long it takes you, you're gonna feel stuck for a long time. But if you continuously take action and move forward, and it doesn't matter how long it'll take or how hard it is to beat that fear, but until you do it, you're gonna feel free. You're gonna feel like you can accomplish anything. Because the truth is that this life that we have, this life that we're currently living, we only live it once. That means that whether we want to admit it or not, on our deathbed, we're gonna have the opportunity to reflect on all the things that we've experienced, and you're gonna see that unless you took action, you're gonna be in a situation where you're gonna look back and feel regret. And I don't want that for you. I don't want that for me. I don't want that for my loved ones. I don't want that for my friends or anyone. I don't want anyone that I know to feel like at the end of their life, all they felt was regret. That they just felt so much regret for the things that they didn't do because they were too afraid to do. Now, there's a saying out there that the wealthiest place in the world is the graveyard, because that is a place where people who had hopes and dreams and goals and visions, they took them to their grave because they were too afraid to do them. So the question is, what are you afraid to do? What are you afraid to accomplish? What are you afraid to go out and get for yourself? What are you afraid to go out and do for your life? Because 9 times out of 10, that fear is only in your head. And not only that, that fear, the obstacle, that is the way. You must go down that path in order for you to get from here to here, for you to feel like you've accomplished something great, for you to feel that feeling of joy, that feeling of moving forward in life. You have to overcome that fear. And once you accomplish that, guess what? Life is very cyclical. Probably another fear is going to come up. All these fears are going to start compounding. But guess what? Now you understand how to approach them. Now you understand that as long as I move forward, as long as I take action, as long as I go towards that fear, not, run in circles and try to avoid it as much as I can. No. As long as you move forward and go through that fear, as long as you overcome it, you will be fine. You will be fine. Understand that fear is not danger. Now, if you're in danger, that's different, as mentioned earlier. But if it's just fear, then make the choice today, make the choice now to overcome it. Make the choice to take action. Make the choice to move forward. It doesn't matter if it's a baby step. It doesn't matter if it's a leap. It does not matter. The point is, move forward. Move forward. Fear is good. Fear will help you grow. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Because that fear is going to help you become the person that you want to be.